Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a video that I've been working on pulling information for a while now, so I'm really excited about it. And this is going to be my favorite year from my favorite movie from every year that I've been alive. So this is going to be from 1996 to 2024. We're not in 2025 enough for me to know for sure yet. And some of these movies were inevitable. It was kind of like whatever year they came out in, it was going to happen because they're some of my favorites of all time. I tried not to be too heavy on franchises, like only have one, maybe two on here from certain ones. So it's just if they stand out or if there was nothing else popping out to me. My favorite movie from 1996 is the original Scream movie. I watched this for the first time just a few years ago and I fell in love with it. I love how funny it is and meta without being just a straight up horror comedy. It's not one of those scary movies that I felt afraid to go to sleep even though I finished it super late. It was a really good introduction for me back into horror because I overdid it a few years ago and had to take a break. I think that was a really good reintroduction for me of nothing too crazy and just a nice return to the genre. In 1997, I have The Titanic. I actually watched this for the first time like 3 days ago. Obviously I know The Titanic, but I never seen the movie, and I stayed up pretty late watching it, and I didn't realize that I would not be okay for several hours after finishing it, but it was really good, and I understand the hype. I don't know that it fully earns that 3 hours and 15 minutes. It's just so long to expect of anyone to be willing to sit there for that long, but I did really enjoy it. There were parts that just broke me, and it was really good though, and I love it. Probably won't put myself through that again though. If I do, it'll be quite a while. In 1998, this is one of my all-time favorites, and that is The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. I grew up watching this. It's one of my mom's favorites also, and I always thought it was so fun and cute. One of the most, I quote it all the time with like the information that could have been brought to my attention yesterday. And one of the only like rom-coms that I really like and enjoy watching. That's weird to say getting into 1999 is 10 Things I Hate About You. I found this one late also, probably like 10 years ago, and I really liked it. I was very sad that this was my introduction to Heath Ledger in this kind of character. The only other thing I'd seen him in at this point was The Dark Knight, and it was just really bittersweet to see him playing this fun and carefree teenage boy role. It was really fun to see, but also just sad that we lost him. The year 2000 is one of my favorites as well. It's The Emperor's New Groove. I think this is like my favorite Disney movie, I'm not even gonna lie. It's in the top 3 for sure. I love the character arc here, and one of just the most quotable things I've seen ever. And honorable mention for this year, Unbreakable. It's probably one of my favorite things that I have recently discovered that is older, so I had to mention it because I do really love that movie. It's just Emperor's New Groove is one of my favorites, so it can't really be beat. 2001 was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I love that this starts us off to something that I really love and stuck with me. And I read these as a teenager, watched them as a teenager, even though they came out when I was younger, and it's still one of my favorite stories. 2002, we have the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. I remember watching this like right after it got released on TV, and I was terrified of Green Goblin because I was like 7. But other than that, I've always loved this movie. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. I think it's a lot of ours. 2003, we got a lot of kind of a lot of franchises here at the beginning. 2003 is Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of Black Pearl. This is another one of my favorite franchises. This is a franchise that me and my husband usually rewatch every year. Like around the summertime, we start watching one and then just keep going. Honorable mention for 2003 would have to be Elf. From when I was like, I don't know, 10 to 13, I always said it was like my favorite movie in general. 2004, this is another one of my all-time favorites, and that would be Mean Girls. Me and my mom love this movie, watch this movie all the time whenever I was a teenager, and still quote it all the time. We went to go see the movie version together. It's just kind of one of our things. Napoleon Dynamite also came out this year. It's also up there just as far as nostalgia goes, and I grew up watching it with my brothers, so it's like extra funny to me. 2005, I have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I remember seeing this in theaters as a kid. I like all the colors and just Johnny Depp, you know. In 2006, I have Final Destination 3. This is the first horror movie that I remember watching, and I really like it. It's really fun. It was my favorite in this franchise for quite a while. It had the bias of it being the first one I watched and how fun it was, and a couple of the deaths are standouts. I do remember really enjoying that as I was watching it as a teenager. It was really fun. 2007 is the one year that I'm going to have two because I can't choose between these two. I have Hairspray that came out this year, and this was one of those movies where anytime my dad asked if I wanted to watch a movie for like months, I'd be like, yeah, if we watch Hairspray. And I had the soundtrack to this. I would sing it all the time. I still listen to these songs like in the car all the time. But Sweeney Todd also came out this year, so we have a problem. Sweeney Todd is just like totally like a me movie. I understand why people don't like the movie version of this. After seeing the stage show, I saw the movie first, and then I saw the musical a couple of years ago, and I understand the problems that people have with the movie, but it's good enough for me to have as like that permanence to it, where you can't just go watch a stage show all the time, but I can watch this movie all the time, and it's good enough for that. It was an instant one of my favorites as well. As soon as I saw it, it was another one of those where like I watched it one afternoon, and like by the end of the week everyone had like been stuck watching it with me. 2008, there's no fighting this one at all. The Dark Knight is, I think, like unarguably probably one of the best movies in general. The performances in this movie are great, and the whole movie just has always stood out to me as being really well done. Heath Ledger as the Joker, I remember going to go see The Dark Knight Rises and just being like disappointed, just because you can't top that level of insanity and everything. I don't think that anything that comes out in that universe is gonna feel right anymore, at least for me. 2009, I have two that are pretty tight here. Coraline. I think that the animation, the stop motion in this is incredible, and I remember watching this movie and just having in the back of my mind that this is stop motion and being so in awe of everything that I was seeing on the screen, and I don't think I've ever really felt that from these before. It's like a kid horror movie, you know? Supposed to be is very unsettling and everything. My honorable mention for this year was Jennifer's Body, because I love it. But Coraline, just because it always has me captivated with how they even made these things. Also, I remember watching the like behind the scenes, the making of, and it's almost as long as that movie, and I sat there and watched the entire thing and was so impressed by everything that I saw. So if you haven't watched that and you've seen Coraline, you should, I don't know, try to find that. I don't know if it's on anything if you don't have the DVD. I had to pause and edit something because I had a completely wrong movie in this list, I realized that I was missing something very important. In 2010, we have Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. This is another one of my all-time favorite movies. I love how it's edited. It's so good. And whenever I watched this movie the first time, I think this is like the one in most recent memory that I watched to the point where it annoyed people. And I started watching it, like I first watched it, 2015. I watched it all the time. So many times. It just became like my comfort movie, and it still makes me laugh every time I watch it. It's still such a fun watch to me, and we quote this movie every time we eat garlic bread. In 2011, bookending here, I have Deathly Hallows Part 2, and I think that the way this whole franchise was handled was so great, and of course we're going to have moments that stray away from the source material. I think that overall it carried itself really well and was done in a beautiful way. It's one of my favorite fantasy stories. I love all of it. In 2012, we have Wreck-It Ralph. I love this movie from the first time I saw it. I thought that the characters were endearing. I love the setting of Candy Crush, or Sugar Rush. I love the setting of Sugar Rush. I think it's so cute. Everything is made of like candy and like junk food and stuff. What they go through is believable at the end. Like, there's a good twist villain too. You see King Candy being kind of villainous, but you don't know to what extent, and you find out, you know, that he's Turbo and everything. And I think this is one of the times that Disney does like a really good twist villain, where you could see this happening, but you didn't know really how bad it was, and you saw like the whole glitch thing and how he erased her code and stuff, but you just don't put it together with how bad it really is until that reveal. Really good for and well written for a kids Disney movie. Then we have in 2013 Catching Fire, the second installment of the Hunger Games movies, and I think this is the first time that after finishing a movie I was like tearing up at the end, just because of how good it was, with just how well it was acted. And I read all the books, and just seeing how they translated that to the movie, it's just so perfect. It's so well done, and I think that we really understand what these characters, like what she's feeling, how mad she is whenever they pull her out. 2014, I have Guardians of the Galaxy. This, I think it's like one of the first newer Marvel movies that I had even seen. I didn't watch Iron Man or the Avengers really until after this. But I remember I went to go see this. One of my teachers actually was like telling our class, like, yeah, if you guys can get out and go see a movie, you should really go see Guardians of the Galaxy. It's the best thing Marvel's done in a while. And then, like, that day or the next day, my dad picked me up from school, and that afternoon asking me and my mom if we wanted to go see a movie. And I was like, yeah, actually, I know of something that someone said was pretty good. And both my parents were like, the thing with the raccoon and the talking tree? And I was like, yeah, sure. And we all had so much fun with it. 2015 is probably the most divisive thing I have on here, as far as like just the way this was taken, and that is The Force Awakens. I just remember I went to go see this opening weekend in theater. Saturday it came out, and there was so many people there, and it was like a matinee on that Saturday, and it was still full, and it just felt like I was part of something where we hadn't had a Star Wars movie in so long. And experiencing that with a room full of people, it just felt so cool and unique of an experience. And I watched that movie like 6 times in theaters. The only thing, and it's not the movie's fault, but one of my distant family members saw it on opening night and told me, like, just blurted it out that night that Han Solo died. It's like I wasn't gonna go see it the next morning, and like she wasn't at the first showing and knew I wasn't there, so how would I you know, you're definitely ruining something for me here, as I was just waiting for that to happen.
So if I look a little different or anything looks different back here, it's because I have done this like 3 times for this year. My 2016 movie is actually Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. I totally forgot what year this movie came out. This is for sure it. This isn't usually my kind of movie. I don't like very many R-rated funny movies because they just feel too raunchy and gross and too many sexual jokes and everything, but I don't know, I love it here. This movie, the most quoted between me and my husband like ever. We quote this movie all the time, and everyone around us is like, what is going on? This movie is very low rated. Rotten Tomato score, low critic score, low audience score, I mean. I feel on an island for liking this movie, and we watch it every 4 months, like on average. One of those really dumb but really funny movies, and it makes me laugh every time. If you guys need a little push, it's really, really stupid, but it's really, really funny, and it has some, you know, uncomfortable humor in it, but it's so funny. You gotta watch it.
2017, another one of my favorite movies is Baby Driver. I love that this movie goes against your expectation. You see Jamie Foxx's character and you think he's gonna be the thing that goes crazy and makes everything go wrong, and then he dies, and you're like, there's still like an hour left of this movie, what the heck? And then it ends up being the other, like the couple just goes freaking insane. Lily James is so like good at playing this kind of character. I think that the characters here are really endearing, and you feel for all of them. Like the main one, like, yeah, he's doing bad things, but he's also trying to get himself out of there, and his like foster dad. From the first time I watched it, the soundtrack, the score, and just the way that he is, like, he doesn't talk a whole lot, but he's still so charming somehow. This movie is why I'm about to like go into like whole Edgar Wright rabbit hole. Honorable mention for 2017 is Get Out. I just watched this movie for the first time a couple months ago, and I really liked it. Get Out was one of the ones where I like went and checked after to see if what I had in this spot previously would be beaten by Get Out, and I feel like if it was any of the surrounding movies, it probably would have beaten it. In 2018, we have Infinity War. This was the first big Marvel thing that I had experienced, really, and like, I didn't go see any of the Avengers movies in theaters or anything like that. Again, just like feeling like you're part of something massive. Going into this movie, like, I had really only seen Spider-Man Homecoming, Doctor Strange, and the Guardians movies leading up to this, and I still enjoyed it, loved it. I was only confused for like, I don't know, a minute. I didn't feel too lost. I could understand what was going on, and it's crazy how at the end, you know, Thanos wins for a little bit till the end of the next movie. Soon after this movie, nothing has felt right since. 2019, I have Knives Out. This is such a good murder mystery movie by throwing your expectations out the window. It pretty much tells you what happened, like who did it, and then you go find out. Yeah, but no. It's so well done. Even though you think you know, most of the time you're like so focused on hoping that it goes well for the person that you think did it because you like them, and then you start finding out that it's not what it seems, and there's hints all along, but you're so worried about that person, how they're handling it, and if they're gonna find out that it was them. Like, you're so worried about that you're not even noticing all these very obvious clues as to what actually happened. And I think it's brilliant and got me back into like the whole murder mystery thing, 'cause it's so good. 2020, we had Slim Pickens this year because it was 2020. Nothing new was coming out really. So I put Freaky. This is a body swap horror, you know, Freaky Friday. Freaky is a teenage girl gets swapped with the body of a serial killer. It's fun. but it's also disgusting. I remember thinking at very certain parts of that, like, this is almost too much, right? Even in the opening, actually, I think especially in the opening, there's a kill that is just way too. I might be okay with it now, but at the time, I remember just being like, oh my god. 2021. Okay, I said that 2018 was the last time Marvel felt right, but 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home, it brought back, you know, all three Spider-Man in one movie, and I've always loved any Spider-Man movie. I don't care who's in it or what problems it has or anything. I love seeing Spider-Man movies, and this is no exception. And in 2022, we have The Menu. This movie it's the first movie that I'd seen in a very long time where I really just wanted the people around me to have seen it so I could talk about it openly. Whenever you see that it's like all these rich people and it's called The Menu and they're on an island, your brain automatically thinks of certain things. It's a horror movie. Your brain just kind of fills in some gaps there that don't happen. And I like that at the whole beginning of this movie, you feel like something isn't right, but you don't know what until this one big thing happens that just changes the course of the whole rest of the movie. And it's one of my favorite movies. I watched it and it was pretty late whenever I finished it, but I just remember being like, what the heck did I just watch? And I loved it. It was so different, and if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It has a couple of moments, but it's not bad. And it's not what you think it is. They don't eat people, okay? I promise. I'm not going to say what it is, but they don't eat people. That's what I thought too. 2023 is Across the Spider-Verse. I just found these movies. The animation is crazy. The first time I kind of watched the first one, I wasn't too crazy on the animation thing. That was like probably when it first came out, but I really, really like how it's done. And that ending, my husband told me that the ending of it is crazy. And for some reason, I thought that the whole, like, he was never supposed to be Spider-Man, I thought that was like the big twist in here. No, that comes in like the first 40 minutes of the movie. It's not really a twist. It's just that once you think you're in the middle of the climax, then it just stops. And I remember checking the runtime, just being like, you know, there's still a lot to do in this movie, and it has like 30 minutes left. Yeah, I should have known that they were just gonna cut it, but I didn't. I was like, oh, how are they gonna wrap this up this quick? They don't. But I'm very excited for the next one. It comes out in 2027, I think. So we're still waiting a while, but I am very excited to see it. I don't really care how long we have to wait as long as it holds up. 2024 is The Substance. I love this movie and everything that it's about. There's so many movies with an underlying message that it's like begging you to see and look deeper for, and this movie just lays it out for you. There is no, I wonder if it's about this. Oh no, you know, and it's disturbing, and it's also so fun. It's a lot to watch, but I think the body horror honestly comes in second to the scariness of how far people are willing to go to not be replaced, and how afraid we are of aging and not just embracing ourselves as we are. And you see that through this movie of her getting worse in her own body and wishing she could go back, and even to the body she started doing this in. You really should have appreciated it when you had it, because now, like, you're done. The first time I watched it, I did have to look away a couple of times because I do not like to see needles going into anybody. This is one that, like, after I think the shock of the first time watching it, I can watch it again. It doesn't bother me anymore. It's just like that initial, like, what the heck am I watching? But yeah, those are my favorites, and that is all I have for you today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one pretty soon. So bye.